What's up, folks? Stu Myrick, Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Doing this special podcast / video to hype up Ring of Honor Best in the World. It will happen this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. It'll be on pay-per-view, Fight TV, and Ring of Honor Honor Club. By the way, stay tuned to the end of this. We will let you know how you can win a free Fight TV stream code so you can watch Ring of Honor's Best in the World on Sunday for free. We're going to start with what Mike Bennett, who I got to talk to earlier in the week. This was on the radio show as well as the Native podcast. And it was great to talk to him, someone I've been wanting to talk to for a long time, especially after his release from WWE. So here's that conversation with Mike Bennett as he gets ready to challenge for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Ring of Honor returns to pay-per-view this weekend. You know how big Ring of Honor fans we are here at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling in the Horn. They are going to be doing Best in the World this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. It'll be on pay-per-view, Fight TV, and Ring of Honor Honor Club. A lot of great matches. A stacked card. Of course, you got title matches galore. Roosh and Bandito for the world title. Tony Deppen and Dragon Lee for the TV title. A match that I am particularly interested in, Jonathan Gresham defending the Ring of Honor Pure Championship, which is one of the best things to happen in Ring of Honor in such a long time, bringing that title back. And he will be defending it against the gentleman joining me now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. This man has rejoined Ring of Honor, felt like he's back home. One of the best to ever be on the Ring of Honor roster, has held titles both in Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, as well as everywhere else. Mike Bennett, follow him on Twitter at RealMikeBennett. Mike, how are you, man?
I am great. Thank you for that introduction. I think I'm going to have you just start following me around places. So whenever I need to introduce myself to people, I'll have that lovely introduction because you make me sound way better than I actually am.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'd be happy to give you that introduction anytime you want, man. Let's start with this. You are at 20 years in the wrestling business. Reflect on that. Reflect on your journey throughout professional wrestling and especially the last 15 months.
Yeah, it's always crazy to me because I'm only 36. So whenever I start to think about how long I've been wrestling and I hear 20 years, it blows my mind because A, it doesn't feel like it's been that long, and B, I don't feel that old. So it's kind of like, I always feel like when you do 20 years in something, you should be like older and ready to retire. Me, I feel like I'm just hitting my peak. And the last 15 months has actually made me feel like I'm just hitting my peak. It was kind of a sluggish last 3 years at WWE, not really doing anything. I was kind of falling out of love with wrestling. But this last 15 months, with unfortunately the pandemic hitting, but then, getting the opportunity to hit the indies and then go back to what you referred to as my home, which I consider it. Ring of Honor is my home. And it'll always be my home. It's kind of given me this opportunity to re-fall in love with wrestling, which you would think after 20 years that's hard to do. But I don't know. It's just, when you do something for so long, you kind of get into the grind of it and it kind of becomes monotonous and you kind of try to find different ways to excite yourself. And right now I'm in a point in my career where I'm just having a blast and I'm really enjoying what I'm doing.
It looks like it from everything I can see on your social media and everything. It looks like you've fallen back in love with pro wrestling, and as we mentioned, especially this pandemic. I know at the very beginning that was when you got your release from WWE, you and Maria, and for several months it was just sit at home. I know you had time. You had gave you time to spend with your family, which, by the way, oh my God, you and Maria. Those two kids are the absolute cutest kids on earth. So talk about how much you enjoyed having that time to spend with your family and how much your family grounds you.
Yeah, man. And first of all, thank you for the kind words about my children. It's being a dad is clearly the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And thank God both of my kids look like my wife and not me. And that's why they are so incredibly adorable. But, I always I'm a firm believer in finding silver linings in bad times. And I feel like this pandemic brought a silver lining to a lot of people. And I don't think I'm exclusive to this, where you got to spend more time with your family. And for me, it was nice because my son was brand new. He was literally 2 weeks old when we started when they started shutting down the world, though the lockdown happened and all this stuff. He was 2 months when we got fired. And it was this opportunity that I saw that I didn't get to do with my daughter, where when my daughter was born, I think it was less than 24 hours. She was born, and then I was back on the road because it was WrestleMania week. So I had to hit the road, and I didn't even get to see her for 24 hours before I was back on the road. And I missed her first steps. I missed her first words. I missed her crawling for the first time. With Carver, my son, I got to witness all of that, which was really, really cool for me. I got to witness his first steps. His first word was Dada, which is awesome and just makes my heart melt. So there's always a silver lining, and my family's everything to me. And whenever anything in wrestling stresses me out, I sit back and I go, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's just phony wrestling. What really matters is what these two beautiful children sitting in front of me. So you're right. It absolutely humbles you and it keeps you grounded in the best way possible.
Absolutely. Talking with Mike Bennett here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Let me ask you this. We just talked about that with the pandemic. Was falling back in love with pro wrestling, was that the biggest thing you learned during the last 15 months?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like for so long I was so tunnel visioned about how I wanted to wrestle and where I wanted to wrestle. And I wanted to be a WWE wrestler. I wanted to be a sports entertainer. And that was the goal for probably 15 years of my career. And then I finally got there and I realized, oh man, I fell in love with different kinds of wrestling on the journey there. And that's actually the wrestling that I love. I love the New Japan style of pro wrestling. I love the Noah style. I love the pure, original Ring of Honor style of pro wrestling. And finding that and discovering that and realizing that, oh my God, there's this whole different style of wrestling that I never even ventured into. It sparks this fire underneath you that you're like, oh man, yes, I've been doing this 20 years, but there's this new style that I get to try out. And it just kind of keeps you going.
Absolutely. Before we get to your return to Ring of Honor, you've spent time on the independent scene, especially here in Texas. You've wrestled for New Texas Pro Wrestling. You wrestled for there was a couple of Paye Pro Wrestling. Give us your take of the independent scene now, and especially the scene here in the Lone Star State.
So the funny thing about independent wrestling is that I've noticed. So I've been on the indie scene probably 15 years or so. And the thing about independent wrestling is every year they constantly talk about how it's dying out and there's no new stars, and constantly new people keep coming up and keep blowing people out of the water. And independent wrestling keeps surviving and thriving. And right now, what I've noticed on the independents is there's just so much talent, unbelievable amounts of talent. There's just guys and girls out there that I'm blown away. And a lot of them are super new to wrestling. A lot of them are only like 2 years in or 3 years in. And I'm like, wow, you're good. You're this good this early. You're going to be amazing. And, not for nothing, but most of those talents I've discovered are down in Texas. I always joke with Maria when I come home off these tours, and I'm like, what is in the water down in Texas that they're just pumping out all this really, really good talent? But I think the pandemic helped because Texas didn't close down like a lot of states. So all eyes went on Texas independence, and that's where everyone started going and venturing to. And it really brought eyes on companies like Pele Pro and New Texas Pro and talents like, Brian Keith and Mysterious Q and all these guys and girls that are just killing it down there. Texas right now, I think, have the best wrestlers in the country.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's something we're proud of. I'm lucky enough. I get to work with Dustin Rhodes in his Rhodes Wrestling Academy quite a bit.
Oh, nice.
It's 15 minutes from my apartment, so and I get to see a lot of those guys. Plus, I do some commentary for independent promotion here in Austin, and hopefully, we're getting back soon. So I appreciate those kind words, and believe me, I couldn't agree more. Let's talk about your return to Ring of Honor. As I mentioned, you returned to what was home. You and you even reunited with Matt Taven, who is a good friend of ours. We love having him on the show as well. Forming the OGK. How happy? Because when that happened, this was, believe it was in November, when that came on TV. Obviously there was a celebration, but it looked genuine. It looked like you were this wasn't just something you did just for the sake of a storyline. You were genuinely thrilled to be back in the Ring of Honor ring, be back with your partner Matt Taven, forming the OGK. Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, and I think a lot of people can relate to this just in life in general, is you go and you leave a place that you're happy with because you think the grass is always greener. And then you go out there and realize, the grass is only as green as you make it. And it's not always greener on the other side. Sometimes your grass is really, really green and you just can't see it because it's just right in front of your eyes. And what I realized is I went and I ventured out, and I'm glad I did it because I needed to do it and I needed to get it out of my system. But at the end of the day, you realize it's best to go where you are appreciated and not just where you're tolerated. And Ring of Honor, from the time I started, which was, I think I started with them in 2010 or 2011, they've always appreciated me and they didn't just tolerate me. And it was one of those feelings where I was like, yep, this is where I was meant to be. And even though there was no crowd, it was quiet. You look across the ring and you see someone who's literally your best friend, not just storyline wise, not just on television, but in real life. He's my best friend. He's my brother. He's family. And you see someone who's been there through thick and thin. And now you can finally go back and be like, hey, we get to do this again. Not many people get a second opportunity to do something that was so much fun in their life. We get to do it again. And we get to make a living doing it. It's our career. It's just one of those things where I just remember sitting there, being in the ring and feeling like, wow, I'm a truly blessed and lucky man, and I'm not going to take this for granted this time.
Well, and it, like I said, it definitely came across on TV how excited, how happy, and Matt was just as excited and happy. And I tell you what, it's been one of the funnest things I get to see in Ring of Honor. You mentioned doing the taping so far without fans, so best in the world. First time Ring of Honor will welcome fans for the first time since I think it was February 2020 is the last time they wrestled in front of fans. How excited are you that you get to wrestle in front of the Ring of Honor fans there in Baltimore?
The Ring of Honor fans, they're the lifeblood of the company. Like, that's what's always set Ring of Honor apart from every other company. The fans are just as much a part of the show as the wrestlers are. So Ring of Honor has been able to maneuver through the pandemic by bringing back the Pure title and the Pure division, which I think really kind of adapted well to the empty arenas. But I always feel like at the core of it, Ring of Honor needs a fan base. And now that we're going to go back, I mean, I've been talking about this for a couple weeks now. This locker room was extremely motivated when there's no fans. I can only imagine what these guys and girls are going to do now that there's fans. I mean, I'm just picturing in my head how I'm going to feel. When I get knocked down and fall down, those bumps are not going to hurt nearly as much as they do when there's nobody in the crowd. When you got 1,000 people screaming at you, you just don't feel anything while you're out there. So that's the part I'm looking forward to. I'm ready to just go all out.
Yeah, as much creativity has been, that we've seen in the pandemic era, is so great that we're going to see fans in attendance at events, and that includes Ring of Honor Best in the World. So you are going to challenge Jonathan Gresham for the Pure Championship. First of all, let's talk about the Pure title, because this is, again, it was brought back, and you've been there when it was there before. So talk about what that Pure title means to you.
So I view the Pure title as it basically to me represents what Ring of Honor's always been about. It's always pushed away hokiness. It's always pushed away cartoon characters. It's always pushed away goofiness, and it's always focused truly on just pure 100% wrestling, the sport of pro wrestling. And to me, that's what the Pure title represents. It's focusing on, we have these rules in pro wrestling that for some reason we've always just pushed aside, and nobody follows them anymore. And Pure Wrestling says, no, this is what wrestling is. This is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be based in these rules that we have made up and told these fans that this is what it's based off of. So let's focus more on that. Let's give it some structure. Let's give it some storytelling. Let's tell people that they're just like in UFC. If you break a rule, you get disqualified. There are certain rules you have to follow in order to be a pro wrestler. And to me, that's what Ring of Honor has always been about. Let's push away the goofiness. Let's push away the cartoonness. And let's focus on what people actually want to see. And that's pure 100% pro wrestling.
Well, and the tournament itself was, one of the best things to be on TV for wrestling, and now seeing this division flourish. You posted on social media recently, you had the graphic of you and Jonathan Gresham at Best in the World, and you posted, quote, "This match is bigger than me. It's bigger than Gresham. This is about my legacy." Why? Why is it your legacy?
Yeah. So to me, this match is bigger than everything because I've always felt like I've always been viewed a certain way. When I was at Ring of Honor the first time, I was always the sports entertainer guy, the WWE guy. And then when I went to WWE, they gave me a crappy name and they made a joke out of me. And this is my chance to prove to everybody that, no, I've been doing this 20 years. I know what I'm doing. I've been in the ring with the best. I've beaten the best. I've lost to the best. I've won titles all around the world. And it's about solidifying my name in Ring of Honor history. It's about saying Ring of Honor's always presented the best. When you think of Ring of Honor, you think of Nigel McGuinness, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson. You think of all these guys and girls. You think of the Young Bucks. You think of the Briscoe brothers. And to me, it's saying when those names get thrown out there, I want people to say Bennett. I want people to remember me. I want when my kids ask people, what was their dad like? I want them to talk about me with dignity and class. The Pure title represents all that. If you can win that Pure title and be on that lineage of guys like Nigel, guys like Joe, guys like Brian, you instantly kind of I redeem myself for all the BS I put up with for the past few years. So that's really what it means to me.
Well, listen, I know I'm going to be rooting for you. I know a lot of fans are going to be rooting for you. Check him out, Mike Bennett versus Jonathan Gresham for the Pure Championship. Best in the World this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on pay-per-view, Fight TV, Ring of Honor, Honor Club. Make sure you check it out. Ring of Honor always puts on some of the best wrestling on the planet. They say so themselves. There's no reason for me to argue it. Mike Bennett, again, follow him on Twitter at @RealMikeBennett. Mike, man, it's so great to talk to you. I've been a fan of yours since your first run in Ring of Honor. Enjoy your work. Thanks so much for your time. All the best to you and that beautiful family of yours. Have a great time in Baltimore, and I hope to talk again soon.
Thank you. I like to say this at every interview because it really always surprises me that people give a crap what I have to say and want to talk to me and want to interview me, and it's always incredibly humbling. So thank you for giving me the time. Again,
such good insight from Mike Bennett, and I have so much respect for him. With what he has gone through, especially with his addiction and everything, and what he does with his family and everything. What a great guy, and I hope we get to talk to him again real soon. Someone else that I got to talk to earlier today, he will be involved in the Ring of Honor's World Six-Man Tag Team Championship match. Shane Taylor Promotions, the current six-man tag team champions, will defend those belts against an unlikely trio. Dalton Castle, who has held those belts before, as well as been Ring of Honor World Champion, Eli Isom, and this man, Dak Draper. Ring of Honor, bringing you Best in the World this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. It'll be on pay-per-view, Fight TV, and Ring of Honor Honor Club. Oh, by the way, go to our Twitter page at SGTWATX for your chance to win a Fight TV stream code. A great card. It's going to be in front of fans. This will be the first time Ring of Honor has been in front of fans in nearly a year and a half. One of the matches for the six-man tag team championship, Shane Taylor Promotions. We know those guys really well, especially Shane. Going up against an unlikely trio, Dalton Castle, Eli Isom, and the gentleman joining me now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. He has quickly become one of our favorites because he is a big sports radio fan. Again, let me remind you, if you cross him, then shame on you. He is Dak Draper. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Mile High Magnum. Dak, it's good to see you again.
Oh, it's good to see you too. Good to see you. Good day to be Dak Draper, but every day is a good day to be Dak Draper.
I gotta imagine that's the case, because I do follow you on Instagram, and you've got some great pictures. I noticed or at least a lot of your pictures involve the beach or the water. Are you a big beach fan? Are you a big tropical fan?
I'm a big vacation fan. I have this ideology I subscribe to: 5.5 days a week training camp, 1.5 days resort. So wherever I'm at, whatever location I'm in, for 1.5 days a week, I'm trying to find that perfect recovery to fuel me for the next week. So right now I'm living in Baltimore to be close to Ring of Honor. With that, there's a lot of beaches around. You got Bay beaches, Chesapeake Bay beaches. You got Atlantic Ocean beaches down in Ocean City. You got little lake beaches inland. And so I'm a big beach person. I'm a big recovery person, because I feel like recovery fuels me for my upcoming week, and I want to come in as strong as possible. So yeah, I take my beaches and my recovery pretty seriously.
I imagine. Okay, so let's find out. Outside of your wrestling travels, what's the most exotic beach you've been to?
So this isn't going to make me seem very worldly, but I feel like when people think Dak Draper, they don't exactly imagine somebody who's leading tours around the world to cultured places. So my most exotic beach, I would say, would be Isla Mujeres in Mexico. It's an island right across from Cancun. I went there. I had my red shoes on. People have probably seen my red shoes with my suits in some pictures. I had such a good time that I forgot my red shoes on the island. So those red shoes forever enshrined on the island there. If you want to go visit them, I'm sure you can. Just book a flight to Isla Mujeres. You might have to take a ferry to get there. But Isla Mujeres outside of Cancun is definitely my favorite, I would say, exotic beach.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. It really does. I want to ask you, because as I mentioned, you're a big sports fan, big sports radio fan. That's why you're one of our favorites. Do you follow soccer? I get that reaction quite a bit, especially here in Austin, Texas. And we got the new MLS team, Austin FC. I was just at their match last night against LAFC. So I had to ask, because everybody's been going on about Euro 2020 and Italy and England and all the good stuff. So I get that. And there is you're from Denver. There is a Colorado MLS team. They played Austin early in the season, and I think that might have been Austin's first win.
Oh,
they only have 3, so it's it's not exactly.
In Denver, we like to do other things besides soccer.
You got the Broncos coming up. You got training camp coming up. You ready to see the Broncos hit the gridiron?
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm nervous though. The motto this year, at least sports radio wise on Denver Sports Radio, I've always kind of got it going on, is 50-50, Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. And so that's got me real up in there. I've really got my fingers crossed that they can somehow pull off this Aaron Rodgers trade. Like, that's in the back of my mind. I probably sound like a lunatic right now, because when it's your team, you want the most outstanding thing to happen, the most far-fetched thing to happen. And just thinking that Aaron Rodgers being the Broncos quarterback is a possibility, that's got me pretty excited. But I'm excited to see what the team's got, because they've got a ton of young guys, one of the youngest teams in the NFL. Whoever's the quarterback also has a ton of weapons. They've got Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant at tight end. So I'm really excited for this year. As a Broncos fan, since Peyton Manning retired, we've had so many field goals. The defense is always good enough to, for the most part, stop the opposing offense so they kick a field goal. And since Peyton Manning has retired, it has just been field goal city on the Broncos offense. They're either every drive ends with a kick, whether it's a punt or a field goal. And I'm so tired of field goals. So I'm really holding out for some here.
I get you. Believe me. Hey, we've got that same problem up in Dallas with the Cowboys. It's, the defense has been getting better, but for some reason, the offense, they can go between the 20s, but that red zone just seems to stop them all the time. And
red zone.
It's
Man,
nuts.
shame on the red zone.
It is absolutely nuts. And especially, and I hope Teddy Bridgewater, hopefully he stays healthy and, he can provide the passing attack that he can give to the Broncos. It'll be fun to watch. So, training camp coming up into this month. It's crazy that it's July. We're getting ready. So, one of the things I noticed on your Instagram, your bulldog. Talk about your dog.
Hathor, come here. So this little dog, this is my bulldog, Dak Draper. He is an old English bulldog, so he's a lot like me. He's going to grow to be taller than a typical bulldog. He'll be probably 6 inches taller than a typical bulldog, and it makes him a lot more athletic. You can probably hear him right now. He is constantly making noises and panting and breathing, but the man's like me. He has a personality of his own. Anybody who does something he doesn't like is going to find out about it. Whether he's barking at him, whether he's making noises or faces, he's very expressive. Like, I feel like fans of mine and other Ring of Honor wrestlers are always sharing different reactions of me going, either getting mad at a ref or any kind of faces I make. I do the same thing with my little bulldog, with little Dak Draper, because he has a personality. He lets you know how he feels, and I feel like that's very important. You can hear him right now. He's snorting. He's throwing a fit about something, probably that I'm not giving him enough attention. Sorry, Dak Draper.
He is a handsome bulldog. Great to see Dak Draper. All right, so let's talk about this card, Best in the World. First of all, how excited are you that again, as I mentioned, first time since I think February of 2020, Ring of Honor is going to have a show in front of actual fans. How excited are you?
I'm so excited. I'm a lifelong athlete. I remember when I was 4 years old in Little League, the first sound you hear when you're so nervous to go up in your first sports event is you hear fans cheering. And whether it's your parents at that time, but you hear cheering, you hear encouragement. And so you're conditioned to that. And not having that, while I haven't liked it, it has helped me to focus on other parts of my game. I feel like it's made me a stronger all-around wrestler. So I'm really excited to debut that new package to the fans, because you can watch it on TV and that's great. But being able to be there, that's when you feel it. That's when you really experience it, because it's different than watching it. So I'm really excited for fans and for other human beings to be able to experience 2021 Dak Draper.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah, that's kind of the hallmark of this first half of July. All the different wrestling promotions getting back on the road, doing, having shows in front of fans and all that good stuff. So excited to see Ring of Honor bringing the fans back to the best wrestling on the planet. Your match, it's a 6-man tag. All right, so let's talk about the team that you're on. You and Eli Isom have had this rivalry. You guys have been battling each other the last couple of months. I believe Eli got the better of you the last time, if I'm not mistaken.
Allegedly.
What's going to make this a successful partnership now with someone that you've been in the ring with, been in the ring against the last few months?
So it makes me laugh every time I hear people telling me that our team won't work because the people on the team used to be opponents, and the people on the team don't have a lot of experience together working as a team like Shane Taylor Promotions does. And if you show me someone who says that, I'll show you someone that's never been on an all-star team before, because I've been on a lot of all-star teams. And when you're on an all-star team, all of a sudden you find yourself on a team where you're teamed up with people that you spent the whole regular season competing against. And all-star teams usually work out pretty well. Like we're in the NBA finals right now. Imagine if either of those teams faced up against either the East or the West All-Stars. I don't think it would be a slaughter for the team that works together well as a team, So I think we need to give Team Draper, Castle, and Isom their due, because I've been on a lot of all-star teams. I'm sure Dalton Castle's been on a lot of all-star teams before. I'm not sure about Eli Isom, But obviously, if he can hang with Dak Draper and push Dak Draper to his limits and allegedly pull a win out somewhere, then Eli Isom is definitely worthy of an all-star team. So when people say that we've got our work cut out for us against Shane Taylor, of course we do. We'd be dumb to think that we didn't. They are a great team. They're the world's 6-man champions. But they haven't faced an all-star team yet, and that's exactly what we are. So that's my mindset going into it. For me, it's business as usual too, because I've been an excellent athlete my whole life. This is just another all-star performance for the Mile High Mag.
It makes sense. You think about the Olympics are going to start in a couple of weeks, which makes you go back to 1992. That was an all-star team, the Dream Team, and I think they did okay. I think they worked out well.
Yeah, I think they did. I think. I wonder what they're going to name our team after Best in the World. Since Dream Team's already taken, I imagine it's going to be something good. But
the
I'm just
Dreamier
excited.
Team.
The what?
The Dreamier Team.
Ooh, that might need. I can see it on the Wheaties box right now. I can see it on the cover of Sports Illustrated. The Dreamier Team.
Just make sure I get 10%. That's all I ask. I get 10%. So, all right. So we've talked about Eli. Now let's bring in Dalton Castle, former Ring of Honor World Champion. He's held these belts before with the boys. Okay. And just tell me how this is, again, Dalton Castle, how much can you trust him? And, do you think he can help bring you guys the success?
I think he can definitely help bring us success. And with trust, I think trust gets overstated a lot. I think trust becomes more important in a team when performance starts to falter. And Dalton Castle is a former world champion. I don't see performance faltering anywhere from any of our 3 team members. So as long as performance doesn't falter, as long as everybody else holds up their end of the bargain, then I don't think trust really plays a role. But with that trust, if we are going to talk about trust, yeah, Dalton and I have our differences, and we haven't gotten along. Eli and I haven't gotten along. The 3 of us all have not gotten along with each other. But that doesn't mean a team can't work. You hear about teams all the time that have had where there's been some miscommunications, some infighting in between, some maybe a past where they didn't really like each other very much. That doesn't mean that we can't supersede that and still be a successful team. Actually, and looking at the 3 individuals involved, I see a championship mentality and kind of a championship trait in all 3 of us. And I think we're going to do a great job as a team of bonding over what we have in common versus fighting over what we don't have in common.
Hey, I give you guys a good shot. And as I said, I've known Shane for a long time. I've called a few of his matches on the indies. So, and I know that the Soldiers of Savagery are a tough duo. Put them together. There is a reason why they are the world 6-man tag team champions. But yeah, if someone's going to take them out, why not this all-star team of you and Eli Isom and Dalton Castle? Before I let you go, this card is so stacked. You got Roosh and Bandito for the world title, Jonathan Gresham, Mike Bennett for the pure title, Tony Depp and Dragon Lee for the TV title. You got Jay Lethal taking on Brody King. You got the last man standing match, Flip Gordon EC3. Is there a match besides yours that you have a particular interest in?
Mike Bennett versus Jonathan Gresham. That I'm really curious to see how Mike Bennett adapts his style to face someone like Jonathan Gresham, who I recently faced at the last pay-per-view. So I obviously have a vested interest in that match, having been in the ring with Gresham. And I'm really curious to see what Mike Bennett can bring, because Mike Bennett's been everywhere. But Jonathan Gresham is so unique. He presents such a unique and all-encompassing style. He can do everything. And if you underestimate him just based on where you've been or anything like that, you're going to find yourself in your own personal nightmare during the match. So I'm very excited to see that match. Also, Silas versus Josh Woods. Silas Young versus Josh Woods. That is going to be, I feel like there's just so much pent-up aggression from Josh Woods. And I get it too, having been a former Ring of Honor top prospect tournament winner.
Right.
And just going from how you have to go from the top prospect tournament to build yourself up, and how Silas helped Josh with that. But now they've their relationship is kind of soured, and eventually the student outgrows the teacher. And I'm excited to see whether Silas is able to keep that, use his experience, and able to come out on top versus Josh, or if Josh is able to shed his teacher and declare himself too cool for school.
I think it's going to be a hell of a card. We had Mike Bennett. I got to talk to Mike Bennett earlier in the week, and I know he's ready for that. And yeah, Josh and Silas, that's going to be a hell of a match, last man standing. So you can imagine the brutality that's going to happen there. All in all, Ring of Honor Best in the World is going to be a can't miss pay-per-view. Is this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Pay-per-view, Fight TV, or Ring of Honor Honor Club. Any of those options will get you the pay-per-view, some outstanding wrestling, and it's going to be in front of fans, which that's going to be a hell of a time. Dak Draper, follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Mile High Magnum. See him on Sunday when he goes after the World Six-Man Tag Team titles. Dak, it's so great to catch up with you again. Always enjoy chatting with you. All the best to you. All the best to everybody there at Ring of Honor. Looking forward to Sunday, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you very much. See everybody on the 11th.
Dak has quickly become one of our favorites, mainly because he's a huge sports radio fan and sports fan, and so we get to talk some sports with him as well as wrestling. But and what a great talent, and look forward to see what they can do this Sunday. As I mentioned, you have a chance to win a free Fight TV stream code so you can watch Ring of Honor Best in the World this Sunday for free. Here's what you do. Go to our Twitter at SGTWATX. You will see the tweet at the pinned at the top of the profile. It will tell you basically you have to follow us, you follow Fight TV, and follow Ring of Honor at Ring of Honor Wrestling. And then basically all you do is like and retweet that tweet. And that's it. That's all you have to do to be entered to win the code. We will pick a winner Sunday at noon Central. So 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. We'll pick a winner. We will contact that winner via direct message on Twitter with the code and how you can redeem it so that you can watch Ring of Honor's return to fans this Sunday. Again, make sure, check it out. Whether you win the code or not, make sure you check it out. Ring of Honor Best in the World this Sunday, July 11th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, on pay-per-view. They'll be in front of fans there in Baltimore. Should be a great, great card. For Sports Guys Talking Wrestling and the Horn, I'm Stu Myrick.